Are we paying enough attention to mental illness in this country?
Absolutely not. It's truly amazing to me that we treat diseases above the neck totally differently than we treat diseases below the neck.
This isn't guns. This is about really mental illness.
In many of these shootings, we have people who have mental disturbances.
Do we need to do a better job in mental health? You bet we do.
You know, some of the research has shown that there's a contagion effect or copycat effect, that shortly after these events, very often there are copycats. We know that a lot of these mass school shooters have been inspired, for example, by Columbine. So I do worry about that and the media coverage, but it's certainly something that we have to be vigilant about.
There's some evidence that past attacks and intense media focus on the killers have helped inspire future ones.
Song Hee Cho wrote that he was inspired by the Columbine killers attack 8 years ago today.
The gunman, Adam Lanza, was obsessed with the 1999 Columbine high school attack.
And some news outlets are beginning to take notice.
We are not, during this broadcast, using the name of the shooter. Often it seems that history remembers the names of murderers and not the names of victims.
Year. We have a way of just ignoring this, of just saying these kids are bad seeds or they're just very sick, when in reality, these are our children. These are the kids that are our sons and daughters, but just as importantly, they sit next to our sons and daughters in classes around the world.
This morning, for the first time, we get a glimpse into what it was like to live with Florida high school shooting suspect Nikolas Cruz, the couple responsible for taking care of him after his mother's death, Kimberly and James Sneed, who tell the Sun-Sentinel, "We had this monster living under our roof and we didn't know," saying he followed house rules to the T. They describe him as depressed and say Cruz went to a therapist just days before the shooting.
But Roger wrote that it would have been different if police had found his guns and his assault plan. If they had demanded to search my room, he wrote, that would have ended everything. Now, because Elliot Rodger was never institutionalized for mental illness, it was perfectly legal for him to buy those 3 handguns along with hundreds of bullets. David.
You have said that you're going to spend your life, and that's the reason you're doing this interview with me, to raise awareness for other families who live with children who are mentally ill. How can you do that?
By telling Elliot's story, by looking at the red flags, the markers, the common traits between perpetrators, asking families to understand, love and support children that might be in the same position as Elliot.
When families deny the presence or seriousness of mental disorders, it's often a significant barrier to getting care for their loved one. There are reasons to believe the earlier we intervene with many mental disorders, the better the outcome. Certainly the less suffering the loved one goes through. And so breaking through those barriers of denial is a critical factor in ensuring that people receive proper care.
If you are worried about someone, what you want to look for is a lot of change in behavior. You want to look if they're withdrawing from friends, from academics, from work, from anything they like, any hobby or sports interests they have, if their appearance is becoming disheveled, if they're, certainly if their thinking is becoming dysfunctional, if they're not quite coherent anymore. You want to look at all of that, and those are huge warning signs. Their sleep patterns, their eat patterns. If someone's really changing, you really want to take a look at it.
For me, I think we take the stigma away from mental illness and mental health, and I think we make it available, and we normalize it. It is okay to see a therapist. It is okay to get help. It is okay to tell a friend, maybe you should get some help. I know a great place where you can get some help.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the first step.
And also teach emotional education so that we understand emotions and we're not frightened by them. They don't do that. So hopefully they will.
All right.
saying, we've had games forever and they don't make people kill people, and plenty of healthy kids play them and don't kill anybody. And we've had guns forever and most people use them and they don't kill anybody. And mental health, mentally unwell people, most of them don't, and we get all that. Right. We get all that.
All of that is true.
Talking about a picture of somebody who all the evidence in raises a red flag. And if we don't get honest about what those red flags are, we're going to stay in the same position that we've been in.